Hi, I'm JD Oliva, and I'm joined by my friend Sarah Cooke. Sarah, thanks for joining me today.
Thanks for having me.
So let's talk a little bit about what you've got going on. You got a campaign currently running. Tell us all about it.
So the campaign that's running right now is an urban fantasy anthology. It's called Concrete Arcanum. I have a story in it that I did with the artist Sarah Cooke. It's called Oliva and the Ogre. And it's about a young girl who's living in the city and feeling like kind of an outsider until she meets and befriends an ogre from another dimension. And then I have another campaign that'll be launching in October also.
What's the campaign in October you have going?
It's No Spell Left Behind #1. It's another urban fantasy series, and it's about a magic user who meets an early death and makes a deal with the devil for a second chance at life.
Ooh, I like it. So it sounds like a lot of your work kind of runs this urban fantasy parallel. Tell me, like, what that means to you to work in the genre of urban fantasy and what some of your influences are.
Yeah, I like it. I like urban fantasy a lot. I think it's oh, sorry about
Okay.
that. I just bumped my computer. I like all fantasy. I like urban fantasy a lot. I think there's something really kind of unique about having all of these sort of magical themes in our world, and the idea that there could be people walking around in our everyday lives who could use magic, and we might
Hmm.
not even know it. Um, I think that's really cool. As far as influences, there there are a lot. I mean, any comic feature. I love Constantine and all of that kind of stuff.
Very cool.
Anything featuring magic, really.
Just any kind of magic stuff kind of really kind of does it for you. Where does that come from in you? Like what kind of stuff were you into maybe when you were a kid that kind of built this love of like magic and magic users for you?
Yeah. One of the first kind of fantasy fantasy series that I guess I was into as a young kid was the Wrinkle in Time books,
Oh,
which it's a little bit different, but it's about a girl who's kind of in the ordinary world and then is pulled into this extraordinary world. I've always been a big Trekkie, which is obviously sci-fi, but I think to me it feels the same.
it does.
I get that kind of like feeling of magic, and it's technology, but it's this kind of incredible magic, incredible technology that feels like magic. And yeah, Lord of the Rings, I was into as a kid. Um, all of that kind of stuff for sure.
I totally get the connections with Star Trek and urban fantasy because Star Trek,
Yeah.
for being sci-fi, is pretty grounded as far as character work and where the
Mhm.
characters come from. So I can absolutely see the through line that you have there. Tell me a little bit about your process and how you work and how you kind of boil your stuff down from your ideas into the finished product.
Yeah, I think I try to kind of think first about what are the themes that I want to. Once I sort of have the basic what the story is going to be, like then, well, why the story and what are the themes and what are the kind of what am I trying to say? And so once I have that all kind of held in my head, generally, then I'll do my outline. For another story that I'm working on now, that I'm writing, I actually did a big poster. I have kind of two different timelines going in the story, events happening in two different periods of time. And
Very
I had
cool.
to get straight in my head, like, okay, so what do we need to know in this time period for the stuff in this time period to make sense? And I had a big poster board with stuff written on it. Um, so I guess that's it kind of generally what my process has tended to be.
Let's talk a little bit about your campaign right now. What have you got kind of going on? Like, what are the cool reward tiers and perks that you've got for potential backers that you're really proud of and excited to talk about?
Yeah, a lot of the reward tiers were actually set up by our editor for Concrete Arcanum. So I would have to double check on exactly what all of those are, but it's really cool copies of the book. And the book itself is 120 pages. There are 35 creators. So
Wow.
yeah, it's a big project. And so I think the coolest tier for that is just the hard copy of the book itself. I know that he's also offering after the campaign uh, sort of like a sneak peek of some of the stuff that other creators have done, which I think is really. I was hoping to get No Spell into that, but it's not quite going to be ready yet. But some of the other creators who are involved are going to be involved in that too. Um, so yeah, some good stuff going on there. And for No Spell, I've got a cool variant that I'm doing. Elena Omanetti did the variant cover, and that's going to be
Wow.
some of the perks. And it's the main character is really influenced by noir movies, and especially The Big Sleep is
Okay.
kind of her favorite. So the variant is an homage to the original movie poster for The Big Sleep, and I think that's probably my favorite perk from that campaign.
Very cool. So you're running 2 campaigns basically back to back. Once you kinda get through
Yeah.
this massive fall of yours, what's next on your plan? Like, where do you see yourself kinda coming in the next 6 to 10 months?
Yeah, so the artwork for No Spell is just about finished. I prefer to have all of the artwork done before doing the campaign, but just the way the timing worked out, we were thinking, well, if we waited, then it would be right in the middle of the holidays, which is not the ideal time to do it. Either that or we'd have to push it off till next year, and we kind of didn't want to do that either. So we're doing it in October, but it'll be wrapped up and ready to ship out by January, ideally. So that'll be the next big thing that I'm doing, and just till the end of the year, it'll be about fulfillment. I'll be able to get all of the digital perks out right away, and then getting the comic printed and getting it sent out, and working on the project that I'm working on now, and kind of getting the editing done for that, and seeing where I go with that.
Awesome. Where's the best place people can find you online?
So I have a Substack. It's Sarah Lindsay Cook .substack.com, and that's Sarah with an H and Lindsay with an E. I am on Instagram at Sarah Cooke Writer and at No Spell Comic. And the shortened URL for the No Spell campaign is tiny.cc/no spell.
That's awesome. Sarah, I can't thank you for joining us today. I'm gonna go check out this campaign. I'm gonna back it right now because it sounds right up my
Oh,
alley. It's
great.
really cool. I can't thank you enough. And that'll be it. We'll see you guys next time. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
My pleasure.